in different name it was. And you see Mishra, Sarnathan, and many others like Dr. Vaidya and T.N. Mahadevan and many more. They work relentlessly for this. SOCLEEN started bringing out scavenger, is the meaning of scavenger. So scavenging the pollution from the environment. So this is how society geared up and started training students at the institutional level with advanced training in environmental monitoring and management. Those days we did not have any course in environmental science. It was only very late we took initiative at Institute of Science, and it was the first time in 1997 we started the course MSc Environmental Science. That was too late when a lot of water had flown, and pollution issues we started talking about. So all scientists together, institutions, research laboratories, they're working in these areas, industrial pollution particularly, toxic trace element, monitoring water bodies of Mumbai and around, climate changes and environmental pollutions monitoring, everything started gearing up. And then there was a NERI, especially for these issues of monitoring in government organization like under CSIR. So all together, they joined hands in at least addressing the pollution problem. So established in 69 is a long time. We wanted to have a celebration of Golden Jubilee, but for pandemic, it could not happen. So now again, we are gearing up. The society is working with whatever strength that we have. Every year annual programs we have been conducting, and in the past, we participated in many public hearing also, and wherever possible, we advise the establishments and the government to not to do damage to the environment and to keeping maximum interest to the environment. So this society, we thought now, the ideas emerged, and mainly Dr. Rakesh Kumar, he is across the world and across the country. He knows that this work has to be appreciated. And so the people who contributed for environmental betterment, I would say in a holistic way, have done pioneering work. And there are plenty, and we cannot choose everyone. So we thought of introducing the award from this year onwards on this day and give it to the individual and to the government sector. The best governments, let there be in the competition, and at institutional level. So that shall cover 3 categories. So there was a very short time, but prominently, as you know, the one who have been always on forefront, talk of the town and talk of the country as well, and they have been handling very, very important issues. If there is a good awareness and understanding and framing of the rules and regulations, government regulations, be on water management, green buildings, and then sewage treatment, and all that comes to the legislations. Mumbai has made a lot of contribution, and Mumbai first to establish the board, pollution control board, and we started working as this an advent of the regulations coming, air, water, and all those says everything. So Mumbai and the people inside working, they have made rich contribution to this. So the proper platform to recognize these contributions and to encourage many more, we thought of introducing these awards. I shall be talking about 3 categories, but then I shall talk more detail about the institutional category because I was associated with organization that I'm going to call the name is Rashtriya Jal Biradari. And when you say Jal Biradari means it is inevitably or obvious pointer goes to the waterman of India, Rajendra Singh. And so his organization Jal Biradari, which is working with the base initially close to Jaipur, or maybe close to Sariska Sanctuary, and the state where there was maximum water problem, the desert is there. Rajasthan water scarcity is so high that you won't believe. I was there in the university and I have seen, even I was tempted to start the course in water management in the University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, uh, where great support came from one of the speaker going to be later. That is A.K. Sinha, a professor of geology at the university. That's how we came together. Our first action was to have All India conference on water audit, because we know that, and Dr. Ratan Jain has said, the mismanagement of water. Many people have been crying upon the cropping pattern, the irrigation, flood irrigations, and in many states, agriculture quality has been spoiled because a lot of flood irrigations that washed out the minerals and everything. So, and the rivers, you know that you name like Patalganga, Kalu, and Ulas and all that. What is the state of affair of these rivers? But for government intervention, the NGO's intervention, situation would have been worst. But still, we are not better. And the worst example is Mithi. But you can see that very soon the betterments will happen with these all efforts. So the Jal Biradari, I will just briefly read about little content of that and read not a citation, but what for we are giving this award, institutional award from SOCLEEN on this day. And then there shall be other two announcement, government and institution, individual level, and that I shall invite Dr. Rakesh Kumar to do the job. So Rashtriya Jal Biradari is a network of various like-minded individuals, farmers, group, social groups, voluntary organization, NGOs, and research institutions, social scientists, water experts, basically all those who are concerned and have deep interest in the issue related to water. You won't believe that when there was water audit conference, the full support came from government of Rajasthan, Delhi government, and there were nearly 600 delegates for this, which included many of them were farmers, and they narrated their wonderful experiments and experiences, and amazing that would beat any ordinary scientific mind, how under the scarcity of water they could still build up the orchards, and that was amazing, and that including Kutch of Ran and many other desert area of the Jaipur, and that green pastures created was just thoughtful planning of all agriculturists and farmers and all that, and they did it. So it's a leadership of Mr. Rajendra Singh, a waterman. He's honored with the prestigious awards like Raman Magsaysay Award, Jamnalal Bajaj Award, Stockholm Water Prize, which I was witness to that. These are some of these for his selfless service to rural communities of India. Today he's gone to Dubai to speak on this topic, and they are also attracted by his work. So Jal Biradari was formally accepted in the National Water Convention held in April 2001 in Tarun Bharat Sangh at Nimi village near Jaipur. More than 7,000 water warriors from all over the country, they participated in this convention, 7,000. Then started the water movement regarding water rights and established communities' right over water. The responsibility of leading the movement was given to Rajendra Singh, who is now chairman of Rashtriya Jal Biradari. Uh, Jal Biradari has its units in each state of the country and working on national level issues like influencing central and state governments for making pro-people water policies. He always criticizes contractor-centric policies. Decentralized community-driven water management, advocacy against privatizations of natural resources, creating awareness among general mass for water conservation and plenty. So the belief in the philosophy that water is a basic human right, and water is never a private asset and ever universal source. State is under obligations to protect the natural resources, and these resources mean the public use cannot be intervened, and right encouragement has to be given for keeping the interest of the people. They believe in rather than linking rivers, it's more important to link people with the rivers. That is what the philosophy is. And so he is on the mass movement. Be is north, east, south, everywhere he is there. And now the pioneering work is being done in the south, including the water scarcity areas of Maharashtra, Beed, Sangli, Satara, and so on. And so there are many more the missions that they're asking for, making it the policy for in the interest of people for water. Even the judiciary has become more environment friendly, he believes, especially river sensitive verdicts have been coming up. And we know the best one is rejuvenation of Mithi River, where Honorable High Court and Supreme Court has done interventions, and we have been asked to submit the report for its restoration, and the work is on. And even forcing UP government to obtain environment clearance for the highly controversial Ganga Express project, pollution of Ganga Yamuna basins and all that. So this is how he always believes कि पानी दौड़ता है, पानी को रोकना चाहिए. You create an obstacle for a flowing water, what we call runoff, you know. But I must tell you, in this, I had been to Rajasthan and to see his work in Sariska Sanctuary and all the areas around. Believe me, how one man can build a better dam, check dams. They call guard something like, you know, and how many? 10,000 plus. Those small check dams on all terrains, starting from hillocks to the slopes to the runoff from the valleys, and where you could not see a drop of water after monsoon, you could see the lush green, and has created not only good environment, flourished agriculture and created green environment, and all greeneries you can see in summer, which is unbelievable that it can happen, but it has happened. And so we really bow to him and follow him, because the what he has done is a miracle. At his ashram, we call, always there are 15, 20, 100, 200 people every day. They stay there, they go and see the work that they have done, the check dams. And he was in conflict with the government of Rajasthan, Jal Biradari, because they prevented minings, stones, famous Kota stones and all those, you know, and finally got the success. Now government also agreed, and they are now joined the hands to protect the environment of Rajasthan. And Rajendra Singh is having interest of protecting environment of the whole country. So therefore, this SOCLEEN award has been awarded for them for bringing people together to advance sustainability in the river basin. They have done the collaborative work with the central and state government, local governments, and with many NGOs, private sector, civil society. They have been working with the people in multiple sectors, helping them find collaborative solutions to today's issues through the commitment to the social, economic, and environmental dimensions of sustainability. Focus is on healthy water, watersheds, actions on climate change and air quality, and strong, resilient communities and regions. The Council has formed the network platform with like-minded persons across all walks of life, coming together with a vision of rejuvenating rivers and society for linking the hearts, mind, and action of people with rivers and through rivers with ecosystem for their nurturing. So for this pioneering work, we have been happy be awarding this award, SOCLEEN Award 2022 at institution level to Rashtriya Jal Biradari. That is what my submission for this award. And I invite now Dr. Rakesh Kumar, the eminent scientist working in environmental area, OSD at national level with the CSIR, the leading organization, after his stint with the Navy, and has been recognized world over for his work. So I shall invite him to declare the next two awards. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sawant. I think after the first one, which has been a very, very prominent person and the organization, this is really a good welcome step by SOCLEEN to recognize people and institutions who are doing some good work. We have a tendency to be speaking only negative things in our society, and that's how we get into negativity all the time. But we do have good examples in our society, and I think we should acknowledge them, and this is the forum that we should acknowledge. All of these three awards that we're talking about, one which you announced and two other one which I'll show, we will confer when the physical event happens. So this is just an announcement, and I'm not as verbose and smart like Dr. Sawant, so I have made a couple of slides. So I'll show those slides to the host has to allow me to share the slides if it's possible. The host, whoever is handling, can you allow me to share the slides?
Tushar, Sakina. Tushar and Sakina, please see, allow to share the slides, share the screen.
Yes, sir, I make him co-host.
Okay, okay.
Okay, thank you. So I hope you all can see it. So this is what we have been trying to do. One which has been announced by Dr. Sawant. The second person who is a very eminent person, those who work in the field, they would know. He is Dr. Prasad Modak. He was one person who is all over the place in the domain of environmental science and engineering. And just to give an introduction, though he doesn't need, he did his BTech from civil engineering and MTech environmental science and engineering from IIT Bombay, and he did his doctorate from Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok. Later, he taught at IIT Bombay for almost a decade, and adjunct for some time from 2009 to 2017 at CSIR. He is basically executive president of Environmental Management Center (EMC) and also director of eConnect for Knowledge Foundation, which he runs on his own. He has worked with almost all key UN multilateral and bilateral development institutions in the world. These include World Bank, IFC, Asian Development Bank, European Investment Bank, UNEP, UNIDO, UNDP, DFID, you name it, and almost all embassies he has worked in India as well as abroad. And he has been also hired many times directly by respective government to directly work with him in environment related issues. What is important here to mention, because we have this World Water Day, Dr. Modak was on the Council of Management of Indian Water Works Association for 10 years and was the honorary editor of the Journal of IWWA for almost 10 years. He was part of the committee of experts which was set up by Department of Science Technology on Technology Handbook of Water Management. In 1990, Dr. Modak developed for the World Bank a suite of software called Loop Pro, Branch Pro, and Sewer Pro that are still used across the world for design and optimization of water distribution systems and wastewater collection systems. He also published several books, of which in 2008 he co-authored a book called Every Drop Counts: Environmental Sound Technology for Urban and Domestic Wastewater and Water Use Efficiency. This was done in partnership with Delft University for UNEP and IETC. What you can see here is he's such a profound and so knowledgeable person. So SOCLEEN wishes to announce this individual award as an expert and the work that he has done in professional space to Dr. Modak. And next one is we did a mapping of many of the government across India. There are many government who are doing good work, but in this year we have been able to shortlist Delhi government in this case. Some of the remarkable work which is out of the box work that they have done is Yamla floodplain water storage project, where they are bringing the large scale groundwater recharging system, where they are going to take a small area. They have already done that for about 1,000 acres of land, and they have started doing this floodwater recharge system. In the very first year, they got groundwater table rising about 5 feet, and the last year data was that there are certain areas where they got as high as 2.5 meters groundwater rise based on the floodwater recharge which happened. Besides that, they have undertaken more than 200 lakes which are being revived, which were in disused condition, dried condition. Nobody was going there.
Slide
So this is another one which they have done for Rajokri Lake, and there are many such lakes, but Rajokri Lake work has already been completed. So this is the kind of work which they have done as an example of how Delhi government has been able to bring ideas into implementation. For this category of SOCLEEN award, we have shortlisted as Delhi government, and that's it from the award category point of view. So we have these awards announced, but when we hold in physical mode the next conference or event, we will be handing it over to all the three people who have been given this award. One is the first one which you talked about, Dr. Rajendra Prasad Ran, is Tarun Bharat Sangh, which is doing this work as Jal Bradri. Second, Dr. Prasad Modak, and the third one, Delhi government, which is doing good work. Thank you.
We just received 8 slides from Jal Biradri, just received. So,
Okay.
Ratish Kumar, you please, after you, I hope you have finished, no?
I have finished. You can share his slides.
So, let's share those slides. Sakina, can you upload them? Share the screen, yes. Tushar?
Yeah.
Ask her to share the screen. I just sent these 8 slides to her. We can just expose them. Shashireka, just see what is happening.
Yes, I'll ask her. I'll call her.
Tushar, I have given to you also. If not, see, you can upload. I just received them on the mobile. Rajendra Singh is not here. He is gone too, so I had to ask
हाँ कुछ अपलोड करने बोल रहे हैं आपको भेजा है.
She has received that, so she is downloading that, and then she will show that.
नहीं sir, he said he
Why
has sent
to
it to you.
download them? Tushar,
आपको मिला नहीं क्या?
हाँ sir.
Hello.
you can also download. You also try.
Hello, sir. Just I have not received.
Now I have sent you. Rashtriya Jal Biradari on WhatsApp. You want to share on the mobile? Sorry, mail. Sakina, it is on your mobile. Now I'm sending it on your mail.
Okay, sir.
Now it is on your coming on your mail.
Now I received from my this thing WhatsApp to this mail.
I also made it.
Just give me 2-3 minutes to
Okay.
download and then you say. Okay.
Meanwhile, thank you, Dr. Rakesh Kumar, for those 2 best awards. And so we complete this year's mission of giving SOCLEEN awards. And it shall be an annual event. And there henceforth there shall be a panel of judges who can search the best work across the country, and that brings us many institutions together, and we shall give citations, memento, and depending on capacity, what else I cannot say, but there shall be annual feature. So that is how, like, connecting hands of people to the mission of water, be the environment or wetland, whatever we do in the field of this. So that will be joining people, and we must learn from, say, Anand Modak and Delhi government. It could be inspirations to the other government and other individuals. And Rajendra Singh ji will be here. The Mumbai water warriors are going to have a yatra, river yatra, 30, 31st and 1st April. And Rajendra Singh is likely to be here on 31st or 1st April in Mumbai. So we shall meet him. But apart from that, he is really linking people first, and then he hits the issue, the mission. And they have done commendable work in Sangli, Beed and all that. And other day they were called by the government to handle the problem Dr. Rakesh Kumar must be knowing about how to handle the urban rivers pollution, Mumbai, like Pune, Mula Mutha, we know. I've been working and talking about Mula Mutha River last 30, 35 years or more than that. The Institute of Science did monitoring of Mula Mutha River, Ulas River also. So we have been doing, and people have been doing that, but now we need action plan for the restorations, So something massive technology have to be emerged, and people's participation. So that is what Rajendra Singh has been doing to connect the minds of people, affected people, riverside, and they have been giving him great support. So in the South, a lot of work is being done under his leadership. So Sakina, can you share the slides now? Hello. Meanwhile, in a question hour session, in fact, we can begin till she uploads the slides. And
It is taking to download now because all picture file is of high this thing.
so we start the question answer session. Shashireka,
Okay.
Yes sir.
those who are there,
Yeah.
and those who can sharpen your questions. And let's start the discussion.
Yeah.
The other speakers expected to be 4:30. Let's begin with your question, Avashi. Many questions, Tushar, where
Yeah.
you can handle the question, Shashirika, yourself.
Yes, sir. First of all, congratulations to the two prize winners, Dr. Modak and the Delhi government. It's very interesting, and we are happy to know that these things are going on, and SOCLEEN is doing a wonderful work in this way, making people aware of these extreme efforts. Congratulations once again. I invite all the speakers who are here in the audience to be present for as a panelist for the question answers. Who all are there? If you can put on your audio,
box and
video.
reading question. The relevant speaker will answer, feeling that one of us, if possible, can answer. Dr. Rakesh Kumar.
Yeah. Okay, sir. I think some of the questions were answered, but then I'll start from the beginning only. There was one question right at the beginning: how much power was generated in Ratnagiri by different thermal status, differential thermal status of the groundwater? What are your experience on the expanse of confined groundwater in regions where no riverine systems are present? This
That
is
was
Dr.
answered,
T.N.
in fact,
Mahadevan.
and he did not have experience in that field, SN Rai. So anybody else having knowledge about that, they can say. Otherwise, this is a question which tangentially touching our seminar. In the other sector it is. If anybody has some answer, you can go to the next question.
Yes, sir.
There
There is one. Sorry.
Shashi, there is one question.
Huh?
How can we make awareness?
મેં મોકલું મુસ્તુને
How can we
નહીં.
make awareness among public to preserve
અહીંયાથી
water?
મેં મુસ્તુ મોકલી શકું.
Okay.
NGOs, organizations are working on sustainable development. They all are really doing good research. There is no awareness among public about the seriousness about shortage of water. Its bad effects are for future generations. How to bring seriousness among public?
So that was the question.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was in the chat box.
Yeah. So I just mentioned Dr. Rakesh Kumar and other experts are there, speakers. They can also answer to this. I can handle only a small issue. Domestic consumption of water. There has to be an awareness that how much water we should use.
Download it and
The conservation of
or you'll have to set up
water has to be done, practiced from the home, and for the government sector and say municipal corporation.
Screen, he has sent a download to Sakina.
પણ અહીંયા ત્રણ વસ્તુ છે. મુસ્તુનું એ શું છે માં?
એ લોકો શેર નહીં કરી શકતા. એ લોકોને હોસ્ટ નથી એના પાસે.
Sakina, can you mute your?
તો બી નહીં.
Can you mute
અહીંયાથી
બીજા
કરો ને
બધાને એમ જ
મુસ્તુને
કરેલું છે.
મુસ્તુને કરો ને મુસ્તુને.
Sakina,
HD મુસ્તુ કરે HD.
Sakina, mute yourself.
Sakina is sending you one thing. Just see if you can make something of it. Yeah, we are waiting.
It's not there. She is. Who was answering?
Yeah, I was answering. Yeah. So at a domestic level, the awareness has to be there. I don't know how many citizens of Mumbai are aware that the water they have been drinking is drawn from 130 kilometers from the catchment areas. All these dams, Vaitarna and Upper Vaitarna, Kansa, and one near Shahpur. So this water has been brought. This is an old plant drawn by the pre-independence time, and water is brought to city of Mumbai by gravitation, not by spending energy on that. One must understand that conservative aspect. Those who designed and planned. I knew the Modak Sagar, the dam that is prepared by indigenously by government of Maharashtra expertise, and famous engineer was again by the name Modak. I don't know whether this Modak and they are related to. It is called Modak Sagar. And imagine that vision to get water from such a distance without spending energy of a kilowatt. Now the issue is that treatment, I remember early 70s, still early 70s, we used to get all turbid water in the monsoon. Then came the treatment process, World Bank aided plant Bhandup complex, The first was by our engineering, Pandrapur, where sedimentations could be done, chlorinations could be done, and fine treatment came with the World Bank help at called the Bhandup complex, and from there it goes to master balancing reservoir and network distribution. So you are getting clean potable water. In our own eyes, in my student days, I have done the experiment in the laboratory, distilled, double distilled, triple distilled water, the permuted purifiers, and still water could not be of the quality of doing titrations and all that. And that kind of water experiments were done with the great energy to be spent on display. This is what I have seen in my graduation, post-graduation days. And now what you see, crystal clear water, city of Mumbai provides, So when this much money is spent on this treatment, and Dr. Rakesh Kumar can throw on the cost benefits to the people and the cost to the government, something like damn low price you get the water, unlike in developed country. But do we have that awareness how much water we are using? Somebody said same treated water for all the purposes that have been doing. Our flush tanks are 40-45 liters every time we pull the tank chain and flush out the treated water, So this concept has to be borne into mind. So real campaign of public awareness. SOCLEEN had a conference on water audit, not only from agriculture to any industrial sector, but even the people, how they can audit the water, In some countries, you are charged for wasting water, wastewater, so that you are not charged on the water that you receive, but the wastewater you are charged to. So this conservative approach already adopted by many countries. So I think we need to do a lot of work. The management, R.C. Jain said on seas, there is a big ground to cover on water management, including the domestic use at corporation level, and the big establishment must go for recycle, reuse water, And railway has started, we don't know how many of you keep informed yourself. Railway is now almost using used water for washing the car sheds and all that, And they have been saving huge amount of water and the revenue also. Same thing has to be done by the hotels, like, when I have seen the work at Surat, how they've been recovering water, there are about 100 waste management plants, 10, and each one of 100 MLD, and they recover a lot of water. So if I go by that calculation, the 5,000 MLD, 5,000 million liters per day, just absorb this figure. 5,000 MLD per day, Mumbai receives the treated water. And after use, 60% of that goes as a wastewater and does what? Lot of damage to the water environment, including your creek and sea. If the same water is recycled and reused, we shall save about 1,800, at least 2,000 or 1,800 MLD water per day. And saving this much water by recycle, reuse, I think the need for upcoming dams for water supply to Mumbai city can be abandoned, or there is no requirement. This is just an estimate that in my rough calculations I would put before. So the right question is that, yes, management of this has to be done. So that I hope answers the questions, and Rakesh Kumarji can tell other issues of how water management and conservation. So meanwhile, you can see,
shared the slides.
she's sharing. I can see that. So their mission, Rashtriya Jal Biradari, bringing people together to advance sustainability in the river basin. And by Jal Biradari, this is their logo. And we go next slide. This is the award-winning institution. Reviving nature, creating livelihood, and strengthening the environment. Does it move? Is it moving?
Sakina?
Yes, I am trying. It is taking time.
Okay.
Sir, you have been made co-host. You can screen that.
Now you can see this. Yeah. I should have
Okay.
done it earlier. Yeah. The
I know.
leadership, Rajendra Singh, I thought I'll keep busy with other things. Waterman of India, and dedicated his life to this. He received the award, which I already have read. Raman Magsaysay Stockholm Nobel is equivalent to the Nobel Prize. Our Jamnal Bajaj Award in 2005, and the other award, it is just covered. I can't read it. So yes, enhancing water literacy. Jala Jana Jodo Abhiyan. That is what I read. National level seminars at college, schools, and these levels. Then you can see rejuvenation of small rivers, what we call nala, So rejuvenation of those. Agrani is a river in Rajasthan. They have done the major rejuvenation work there. And Mithi, that is, there is nobody in Mumbai who does not know Mithi River. So I don't have to say much about Mithi. Godavari River, the work is on. Godavari Basin, the working in Maharashtra. Sometime I also do join and visit and work with them. Shairini River in Rajasthan, Sai River in UP, Krishna River in Telangana. Then policy level interventions they do, Jala Yatra, Save River campaign, Arvari, River Arvari Parliament, that was very successful venture. So River Parliament. So can you go to the next slide? Yeah, it's taking time.
There it is.
River Ganga declared as a national river. Draft of river policy has been shared with the CM's 25 states. Water literacy center declared in Maharashtra. Formulation of Indian Peninsula River Basin. River rejuvenation campaign. More than 10 PIL going on in the NGT for river issues. National Green Tribunal. 100 crore penalty on Andhra Pradesh government for illegal construction of Krishna River. Awareness campaign on more than 100 rivers. Organized more than 200 seminars, webinars. Organized more than 50 national level seminar. 100 dedicated national level voluntary working organization. The next one. So you can see the impact of this work that they initiated one man, training volunteers across nation. And I'm sure this is a photograph from his center alone. So this is how everyone is participating. There is no qualification required. The only qualification that man jodo, river jodo. उसके लिए जब आते हैं सारे, all volunteers are required. And transformation that has happened with the check dams, is a lot of employment created to the local people. You can see this change water scenario when nothing was there. You can see now the forest created rivers like this, which go very dry, and later on we can see the water walks with the team. Next one. Let us go fast. I think one or two more. Yes. Mobilizing communities. This is the place I have seen. It's absolutely dry it was, and now there is always the water there. So with this, we're happy that at least something can be projected, could be projected to you. And so this is how you will all agree why the award goes to such a big organization, Rashtriya Jal Biradari. I think with this, we stop this lecture, screen sharing. And Dr. Rakesh Kumar can throw some light on the awareness of water conservation side, maybe at drinking water.
Dr. Rakesh Kumar.
Yes. Yeah, I'm here. I would say Dr. Sawant almost covered everything that was to be said. What is important here is that each of these ideas which got discussed in multiple presentation as well, how do we convert them into smaller projects so that they get implemented? And I think that's where the challenge is, which I also pointed it out. There is one set of projects which are building a dam, supplying the water and everything. But if you have to worry about 35%, which was pointed out by, I think, Dr. Jain, if that is our loss of water, that could possibly be handled at a small scale level in a I would say community level intervention, where the traditional age-old water metering system can be replaced with sensor-based system, which will tell you when the leakage is happening, when the pressure is lower than what we need to do. So every house and every housing societies can start looking at possible options of no leakage, at least from their point. Then we can go to the community where the supply of water lines which are coming. And once we are aware of it, we can possibly point it out to the local municipal corporation that you need to do it in a following way. And it's very important that although water audit looks like a subject in itself, but the easiest thing for communication purposes is to do this audit, that how much water we get, how much wastewater we generate, and how much can we recycle it. So currently, Government of India has mandated, as well as state government have mandated, that every housing societies of certain size, they need to do recycling of wastewater, and in toilet system they should use recycled water. But how many of them are doing? If efficiently they are being done? Why are they not doing? Sometimes it's not good enough to say we should find all of them who are not doing it. We should go and identify, and that's where this job of SOCLEEN and the team which is listening to this whole conversation, is that we should identify those basic reasons why people don't do recycling, even if it's possible to do. Sometimes it could be just the cost. If my fresh water cost is so cheap, I would not want to do recycling if I can get it very easily at my doorstep. The second one could be that the quality of recycled water is not good, is smelling, is looking dirty, or it can possibly be a danger for the health of the people. Then people will not do recycling. And the third is relating to a very intricate thing, which I understand there could be many more regions, the way plumbing is done. So there is a chance that when you have recycled water coming in your house, you have to have a separate plumbing done, and that separate plumbing line has to have a different color or some separated method by which, if there is any problem when a new plumber comes, he should not combine with fresh water and the recycled water.
Yes.
So that just danger and the fear can go away if it is done in an efficient manner. So these are like possible measures and possible ideas on which we should start progressing one by one. And chances are that we'll be able to save water, at least, if not 50%, 20-25% very easily it can be saved.
Yeah. I would just like to point one thing. During the college audits, we have this green audit done. I think this water audit also should be made one of the mandatory things, if it is possible. If that can be done, and through the colleges, this awareness can be spread to the public through by way of volunteering students and so on. So maybe we can just spread out the awareness, and society definitely will have to be
Yes.
doing this, because it's very important that the society takes interest in the water as such. Today in the morning also I saw a water leak, but I couldn't trace out where the leak was from, and I could not do anything about it. So I was feeling very helpless. That's a very good information, and I'm sure people here who are listening will definitely take home the message and spread it as a contribution on their part. Okay, there is one more question. Nikhil Chaud is asking, can you throw some light on geophysical survey BLF method? BLF method. I don't know who.
I'm not an expert, so I think other members or experts can answer this.
Okay. Then how useful is rainwater harvesting in increasing groundwater capacity? I think this question was asked to the respective speaker.
Yeah, it was answered.
Yeah, it was answered. No? The next question is, can we not use the stormwater drain turbulent flow in the monsoon into planned percolation and in existing open areas?
That was also answered, yeah.
That was also answered. Sorry. How best can we recharge? I think this is Dr. T.N. Mahadevan's question again. How best can we recharge the confined groundwater in arid zones and rain shadow region apart from normal unconfined ones?
This was also answered, yeah.
Okay. Summer high temperature and all. Yeah. Okay. What can be the effect if we convert each existing water pulling facility into groundwater recharge system too?
It was told that it is technically may not be achievable, not possible, if I remember.
Okay, okay. I don't see any. River March, somebody, yeah. There is this Colonel C.S. Unni who's talking about a River March. I'll just read it out. River March, a citizen movement, has been working in Mumbai for the last 10 years to rejuvenate 4 rivers of Mumbai, interacted with corporation and state government and suggesting measures for the same. River March has received tremendous support from the public as well as the authorities in power. If Colonel Unni can...
Yeah, he's right. That's question. Yeah. The river march is happening because the NGOs and activists from IIT, Daftari Janak and all that, they arranged some river march, and just now I declared the other one is starting on 30, 31st and 1st April, going to the sites of this river, including the this estuaries and Ullas River, Mithi River. They are also going to Bhiwandi, Kamwari River, and bringing out these issues of the pollution, particularly from urbanizations, the waste dumping into these rivers. Separately, that is being handled by the BMC, NIDI, and the government of India and Maharashtra. So these problems are being handled, but river march, yes, in awareness. I think the common people getting affected, flood and all that, they should be saved. So river march are there to bringing awareness to make our rivers safe for people and water of the river safe for desired purposes.
Yeah, would Colonel Unni share some of your experience? Would you like to talk?
Yeah, when we started the river march project in Mumbai, all the 4 rivers in Mumbai were totally like gutters. As these rivers are only rainy season rivers, after the rainy season is over, it is totally dry, and it is all the mud that is going into the rivers. So we started with cleaning the rivers and then creating awareness among the people who are living besides the river. That is, every Sunday we used to go to the various rivers and do this cleaning for 3 to 4 hours, and also involving the local people there. Thereafter, when we started getting support from the people, fortunately we were able to get earlier Dr. Fadnavis, who was the early chief minister, his wife joined us. She came and saw all the rivers, and thereafter she gave us an appointment with the chief minister. When we explained to him the various facets of the river, he made us then meet the municipal commissioner of Mumbai. There we gave him a complete presentation on how these rivers could be rejuvenated. I'm glad to say that after all this work which we have done, now the Mithi, Oshiwara and Daisar river beautification plan is already under implementation. All the rivers have got STPs being made on the rivers. So in a way we'll say river march has succeeded in a big way. and hopefully in another 5 to 7 years, I'm sure we will have to see the regenerated rivers in Mumbai.
That's congratulations to the River March, and I'm sure more people will join in this good effort. Sir, in the chat box, there are no more questions. I just wanted to ask one thing. Maybe it is possible with the SOCLEEN organization. During these kind of conferences and seminars and deliberations where scientists come and present their experiences and data, don't you think it would be beneficial if we involve some who are part of the government and the policymakers also here, so that they are directly involved in this? Maybe not as a final thing, but at least the awareness part.
Yeah, the suggestion is good, but people like me and Rakesh Kumar, they're in and out of the government. So ultimately, we contribute our views, opinions, we write the reports. And so that helps. We carry the public opinions also, what people have been talking about, Sometimes we are a person like me, the part of agitations or activists like, that Vaiterna River, the fertilizer plant, how it was spoiling the Vaiterna River. Then work at the Mula Mutha and also at the Ulhas, and how we objected to the pollution coming from the industrial area. And we were never afraid of publishing this work in the name of what is happening where. There were questions in the parliament also of heavy metal pollution that we people all have worked into. And that contributes into the policy making, So it's not that government doesn't fall on the deaf ear, but it comes into policy making implementations.
Yeah.
It works. So even River March, whatever they have given a presentation, it's the only thing that government sector and policy makers or the responsible officers, they are too busy into their daily routines. So what Unni has said rightly, that we collect our information, we tell our experience and give narrations to the concerned authorities, and that adds to that action plans,
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask any questions? The chat box has no more questions. I would invite any questions from the audience.
Meanwhile, just find out whether our next, Professor Shakir is already arrived, Good.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. I can see you. So if there are no question, Tushar, you can take over and.
Yes, sir.
Thank
you so much, sir.
Thank you, Shashirekha, for. We thought the time had just gone like that, In fact, we could answer all the questions. We could contribute something. I'm sure that has benefited the participants, whatever information that we could give. And Colonel Unni has brought even Mumbai, though people, they say very busy, but busy people find time for water, and that's why they were on the march. And so we are going to on the march on 31st and 1st. Anybody wants to join, they can contact us for the river march, and we shall be happy to have you. Yes.
Yeah,
so we hand over to Tushar Desai and can go for the next proceeding.
Yes, sir. And we are talking about creating discussions, like how we can create awareness. And the next topic is about that itself. Like we are putting not groundwater in the ground, but into the mind of people. Making visible is not enough. And we have a very right person, all the way from Hyderabad, Professor Shakil Ahmed. I request Dr. Deepa Verma to introduce Professor Shakil Ahmed. So welcome, sir. Over to Deepa.
Deepa?
Well, I can start. There's no problem with that. Isn't it?
No problem. She must be.
You'll have to enable me to share the screen.
Yeah, they will do that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll give her a call. I'll call her.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I joined back, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry for the disconnect. My apologies because there's a poor network out here. So
Actually,
I'm so
otherwise, I
sorry.
never thought you would be away for a minute also, you know.
So it got disconnected. It's a poor network. Very good afternoon to all the dignitaries present here for today's session, post-lunch. And I'm sure we all are present with the same enthusiasm and interest that we all have displayed pre-lunch. So I take the pleasure in introducing our speaker, Professor Shakeel Ahmed. Professor Shakeel Ahmed is presently working as an honorary professor at the Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. He has served a number of positions earlier as well. He is an emeritus scientist at CSIR, National Geophysical Research Institute, Hyderabad, emeritus professor at CSIR, Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research, M.K. Gandhi, Chair Professor, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi, Chief Scientist, CSIR, National Geophysical Research Institute, Hyderabad, Professor, CSIR, Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research, Team Leader, Indo-French Center for Groundwater Research, Secretary, Asian Wadi, a flagship program of UNESCO. Sir is basically a geophysicist who has turned as a hydrogeologist, and the entire session today is all about water. He's completed his MSc Tech from BHU Varanasi and PhD from Paris School of Mines in France. He has worked on earth sciences throughout his scientific career of 40 years and got superannuated from CSIR, NGRI as senior most chief scientist. He has completed several projects and one of the prestigious one on aquifer mapping in India, and has done many international projects as well. For example, Saaf Pani and Sust Water from EU, Mesoscale from ACR Australia, Shiva and Moini from ANR France. He has been closely associated with UNESCO, presently working as Secretary Asian Wadi, a flagship program of UNESCO, member of the governing body UNESCO CAT2 Center on rainwater harvesting in Sudan. He is the fellow of the World Academy of Sciences, National Academy of Sciences of India. He is recipient of awards such as National Geoscience Award, National Mineral Award, and there are so many awards to name. I guess it is going to take an entire session if I keep on talking about Sir's achievement. And to sum up, he has to his credit more than 40 doctoral students whom he has supervised. And he is instrumental in the National Aquifer Mapping Program of Government of India. And I'm sure we are all here to listen to him. And as we listen to him, we will know all about him as well. So over to you, Professor Shakeel Ahmed.
Thank you so much. It was very nice to talk about me self. Normally, sometimes. Anyway, thank you. And I really thank Dr. Sawant to get me involved in this one. Although I was just coming. This 22nd March has become a big global festival. In fact, because you see that so many programs on the WhatsApp we are getting on because of the online also, and now I'm sure if you count that every individual has got almost hundreds of programs. So anyway, I'm lucky that I'm now seeing you all here, and I wish I could listen in the morning, but I was busy in the program here in my house, my home organization itself, so I couldn't stay away. And but anyway, now I'll start. So I think I have enough time. I'll be finishing before that involved. You already have spoken about the lower part of my screen. Here you can see the first, but the first one, of course, I'd like to discuss that. And this is, I'm put the Manu logo because I'm presently working Manu, and Manu is celebrating to a Silver Jubilee year, so that's why we're on that. Well, I tried to, when I was asked that give us a title, I thought why not we should give some pro title and it is sensitive. But then this is the fact. We'll see that I'll try to prove that also that what I'm telling is really needed. That so that is why actually let me start with that. You see this valuing water was the slogan some time back. This and then now you see you require that we have to catch water, and that's why the government of India slogan also is there now: catch the rain wherever it falls and whenever it falls. And this is Jal Shakti Abhiyan, under Jal Shakti Abhiyan. But I just want to go beyond that. Yeah, that I'll do. But then still there's some scope that people waste water, people don't respect water. So unless we put in the brain then only we can. And I'll show you that. Then how do we do that? We have made some effort and still, but a lot of things have to be made. So this is something which is not new, but I just want to remind that water is such a thing which is very important also, but it is associated with all sort of disaster. You see, if it is too much of water, it's a disaster. Too less of water is disaster, and polluted water. You can see there very well with the picture itself that floods are there, tsunami are there. So this is a disaster. Now in this picture, a lot of drought, or the drought even for drinking water, such situation, you can't imagine that. And here you can see that this hand pump is there, but it's polluted with the contamination. It's contaminated water. So this is also a sort of disaster. So that's why what I'm trying to show with this slide, that water is so important that we have to go very cautiously, lot of caution, because if we sleep a little bit, there is only disaster, nothing else is going to happen. Coming back to groundwater now, from as you know that mostly it is surface water and groundwater, we leave all other things. So surface water is seen, but groundwater is not seen. That's why the theme of this year is making it invisible visible. So, and why it is not visible? Because it is under the ground. So you can't see from our naked eye. We have to use some sort of technique, geophysical, geological, or also we can discuss also a little bit. But I would like to here start with that, why I said that we have to put water inside the mind of the people. Because you see, I'll show you a real story. In this, I'm starting from 1980s, in an area which has been our pilot area. Most of the work we have done here. There were only 2 borewells, 1980s, you can see that, and 2 borewells were used, and there were a lot of dug wells, and that's how I'm trying to show with a descriptive diagram also. People used to pump or even pump, manually take out water from the dug well. And I'm showing you this picture because this is what is below, which people don't see. And only we can see from through our investigation that in the hard rock, particularly the water doesn't it will stay like ocean or like this way. But they are very near with bigger, and then stay in a very small part of the whole land, whole subsurface. Okay, this is another thing. But then coming back to the 1990s, we start back and go to just 10 years later. You see, there are so many dots. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, so you continue. It was
okay, that's fine. That's fine. So many, you can't count, we can count very easily 20, 25 like that, where we have come from 2 to 25, let's say. And what has happened, because you are pumping, so this water disappeared. Well, you need water because you need agriculture, you need solar things. So let's go little more, 5 more years. People have come with so many borewells like that, and with pumping, the wells have gone down. This has gone down, this has gone down. Now this well also got dry and no water is coming. But you need water. So the people have what have done in this another 5 years, because there is a technology. This technology has come into picture. So they have drilled much more deep bore well and a powerful pump, and start pumping that. And at the same time, not only that, you're going down and down and down like that, but you are increasing the number. So you can imagine a double stress on the system, which is finite and very much limited, right? Then at the same time, 10 more years, you see here, the whole area is punctured. Whole area is full of the bore wells and being pumped, and the result is on the left, on the right side. There is no water left now, and you can't even do anything because there is no water left. So ultimately, what has happened? You see, 935 bore wells have been drilled in a small area of about 55 square kilometers. So you can see, imagine the density, which is definitely not correct. And then the result was that because of the over exploitation, over pumping, 228 wells totally got dry, because those who were shallow, it got dry because the water levels are going down. So this is why actually I put in my title that what are we doing? We are doing without thinking, without knowing anything, without bothering anything. So that's why this problem has to go to our mind, whether we think and then do that. Okay, let us proceed further. So the thing is that we have to go for rational management of groundwater and sustainability. For that, rational management is important. And for that, many things are there, but then two points are very important. That you have to have detailed and reliable knowledge of the system required, and then simulate and do some study. Because the number one is because the people, perhaps I'd say that those people, because they didn't know, they perhaps diagram I have shown because of this is because of the scientific investigation. But then if the farmer, if the layman, you see, he will think, well, the underground below me is full of water and ocean, because they have seen ocean. So that's why it is required to have detailed and reliable, because both are important. Knowledge is required. With that knowledge there, perhaps some mistake will be reduced and sorted out a lot. So how do we do that actually? Well, before going there, I would like just list here sort of I want to bring here the climate change. Actually, why this whole crisis is there? Climate change is one of the factors. It's not always the factor. Climate change has been always there in our life. This time we are talking much more because we have data, we have awareness. Several hundreds of years ago, also the climate change, we didn't realize it because there was no data, there was not much study. So expected impact is that even in the annual rainfall, that depends how when you are working. If you're working on annual rainfall, you find there is no change, and you say there is no impact, there is no problem. But if you change the scale, then you'll find that there's more surface runoff and less groundwater recharge because the extreme values of the rainfall is there, or the rainfall pattern change. Then temperature also got changed because you are hearing of that this climate change. So obviously evaporation will be more, and that impact will be there. More sea level intrusion will be there because sea level rise is all those. These are very well known that I'm just listing over here. I'm not discussing much of that. Now here I would like to put one time. This is the hydrological cycle because of all water system is governed by this cycle, and you all know it well. So there are so many components, but forget about other. Just take these two circles, which I'm sure you'll be able to see that. This is I'm showing here because this is representing the groundwater, representing surface water. So if these two are within their limits and balancing each other, there is no problem at all. But suppose it happens like that, that one circle got bigger and the circle, I mean, they have been disturbed. What I mean to say here, this fits one thing, or maybe this is like that. This part has become smaller and this is bigger. So in both the cases, it is not correct because balance was disturbed. So that's how the thing will be different. That's what is happening actually. Under the climate change, all this what is hydrological cycle parameter, even the evaporation, condensation, you see very well, you can realize your own way. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows when it rains, everybody waits for the rainfall in India, at least because you know that monsoon comes or a very hot summer and all that. And so you can't say, no, I don't know, I've never seen rainfall. You realize that in 30, 40 days before, it was not like that. The rainfall pattern was very, very different. Now it comes sometimes all of a sudden, a big heavy rain, and then you have 10 days of at least a week totally dry. This has changed the whole process of the groundwater formation, like recharge or percolation, infiltration, etc., etc. And that's why, that's the reason why. Well, in between, I want to show one slide which is a little more scientific. That if you draw the partial probability distribution curve of any single parameter, you'll find that earlier it was blue, now it has become red. That means the variation is more and the mean has been reduced. So that's why this change is there. This change we have to understand and we have to adopt it. Because we can't, from blue to red, what has happened, it is not in our hand to do that. It is only the observation which has been brought out and we can't change it back. We have to only adopt. That is what we have to keep in mind. Some more thing also, I have just drawn here rainfall in Hyderabad in the month of June, July, August, September. What I would like to, of course, you don't have to analyze so deeply, but I would like to show that in June there used to be some big rain in Hyderabad, particularly in the city, but it's not happening now. And the rain comes mostly, as you can see, in July or even in October, some big rain comes in 1 or 2 years, right? So there has been a shift which I have already shown you. And there has been a variance. So the result has been this one, that this groundwater level which is going to go down very deeply. This slope is very high impact. It's not sustainable that way, definitely. So that is the impact anyway. So what we have to do now, the need of the hour is that you forget about the left side or right side, you see that we used to do like this. We used to save ourselves from the rainfall, wetting outside, but then now the need of the hour is that you have to turn your umbrella up so that you can collect rainfall, which is coming with the source of water, and then collect yourself, and this time is going to come like that. Everybody has to do that in addition to helmet and all those things we are used to do that. So this is very clearly shown also, and everybody knows that. Only thing is that we try to adopt so that we don't feel much of the impact or this way. Now that's why you have to take out the water from the groundwater from the borewell. You have to recharge also. I'm going to discuss more later. So so far the conclusion was that a rainfall, which is the source of water, comes in a very different way to the earth than it used to. So what is impacting? It is reducing the groundwater recharge. So our groundwater is becoming less and less. And groundwater is important. Even this morning also we were discussing, when we see the rivers are getting dry, the ponds are getting dry. It's not because of the surface water, it's because of the groundwater. Because there's a very clear link between groundwater and surface water, and they contribute to each other. So if the groundwater has gone down, that's why all those things getting dry. So we have to enhance the groundwater, because the groundwater recharge, you can understand very easily that if the rain is falling in one all of a sudden, then more surface runoff will be there than the percolation. And that's why groundwater is becoming less and less. But at the same time, our need is rather same or increasing. So we pump more. So you can imagine that we are putting less and we are pumping, taking out more. So what will happen to the system? This is very clear. That's how we have to simply do something, at least assess that, and then adopt how to manage this. Now, what shall we do actually? Because the earth is like that. You see, the rain falls on that, it will not go inside. The only thing the rain falls on such terrain, only it will seep down. Forget about the way it is falling. Even if it is falling very nicely, also very favorably, it cannot go enter from here. It can enter from here only. So our earth is like that. So this also we should know. Over here, you see that there are cracks, only it will go, otherwise it will not go inside, not percolate here. There are different types of rocks, this one is different. So different rate of percolation will be there. This is the same thing. A lot of picture I'm showing you, so I can go fast. This is our large diameter well. In fact, nowadays they are disappearing because people don't want that, because they're getting dry. And people don't want, because it occupies a lot of space. And so nowadays, nobody is digging the well, because borewell technology is there and they are drilling. So this is getting dry. I'm showing so many, you see no water here. There's no water because the water levels have gone down. I remember a few years ago, say 20, 25 years ago, I myself during the rainy season to take from the bucket, just dip the bucket inside the borewell and take out water. You don't have to pump it actually. But it is no more now. No, our children can't believe that. Right? It was like that. All dry. Okay. So one slogan over here is there that we have to go still for exploration, but exploration means is not only finding the location or locating them. Rather, we have to understand the system. Then only you can assess them and you can ensure the sustainability. Right? So both things go together. One alone will not be enough. Now, this is this year's UN theme of World Water Day, making the wind visible because the groundwater. So if there is a dug well, you can see that, but if there is no dug well, then you have to apply a different technique, or there are scientific technique which we can make it visible, not with the naked eye, but of course you can do like that also. You can go inside the earth, see that groundwater, but then it will be very difficult because you can't go like this. And moreover, the groundwater will become very deep now. So what we do, we apply some technique, let's say very commonly geophysics that I'm showing here. And I'm not going to, of course, discuss in detail because that's not the topic, in fact. But I'm just showing that it is quite possible without digging, without doing anything on the earth. It's called without invisible method. We can find out what material could be. Like you see, it is not very direct, but then we infer. Like you see the different color that shows the resistivity or resistance of the earth. And if it is very high, means obviously solid, very compact. And if it is low, that means that may contain water or maybe something, some loose soil or something like that. So this is a different subject to how to interpret it, but I'm saying that it's quite possible now the technology exists that we can find out how the material, what material could be applied. So this is where actually we can say directly, because suppose, for example, let's say that, well, there looks to be water over here at the depth of say 27 meters, which cannot be seen by naked eye. So this geophysics, which is geophysics, of course, is making the invisible visible. This is one way. But we have to be very careful in the sense, because that before that I was talking about this groundwater recharge, like enhancing the recharge. That means the recharge which used to take place through normal rainfall or normal way, natural way, it's not happening. And the reason I already told you, because of the rainfall pattern has changed a lot, and it is not favorable for population a lot. It's a lot of runoff is generated. So you see, if you want to say for argument's sake, many data shows that the annual rainfall is roughly same or not changing much. So what is happening then? It's happening that the pattern has got changed. Like 10 days rainfall comes in one day and the rest 9 days go dry, which is not favorable for the groundwater recharge. So we have to go for artificial recharge, our own recharge. Now, this a couple of slides I'm showing, I'm debating a little bit that unless you know the subsurface, all these things experiment will not be successful. So, for example, you can see here there is a tank, and the upstream is this side, downstream is here. So you can see that in the natural way, the water comes, the runoff, it will fill up this tank, but then immediately water will go to the red part, the red line is there because of the slope simply. It is the deepest point. So obviously, now this tank, let's say it is filled also or half filled, whatever, but we can take it granted that the more and more population will be in this side. But this is what we wanted to check whether this is really correct or not, because we don't know the subsurface case. So we have carried out geophysics and we try to find out below, say 20 meter or 40, 50 meter, what is below that. And a lot of profiling sounding has been done here with the ERT. And we found that you see that you can see very clearly in this direction, this is the deepest part in fact. And here very shallow, there is a compact rock available. Visiting. If you come over this side, which is enough steam, but at the same time, we have a deep, there's no bedrock here, finding out bedrock ends here, and a lot of space with the less resistivity, that means with more porosity, it is available over here. So this is why if this information is available, then we can conclude that this tank is not really favorable for groundwater recharge enhancement in a natural way. Because the moment you leave it to nature, the water will simply go over here at deepest point first, and there is not enough space. So then it is quite possible that you can stop the water. This is the tank again. You can put some sort of barrier so that the water doesn't go over here. It stays over here because I've shown you in this part, there's a lot of space, right? So these things nowadays is possible because technology is there. So we can use that so that we can enhance the recharge much more way. This is the right hand side. It shows that if we have not done anything else, our recharge enhancement, of course, enhancement will be there, was like that due to rainfall. But if we do some sort of artificial way, stopping the water over here, rather than going to the deepest point, then our total recharge will be almost 3 times over here. So here, I just want to show that the subsurface, you see the 2 points I have written, and then we started from there. The first point was detailed and reliable information of the subsurface is needed. So here, I can say difficult to say that it is really much reliable or not, but detail is there because we have carried out the imaging. Okay, now let's see what else is there. So the problem is that I'm talking about reliable. I will show here some example that how you can check reliability of our work. Now take an example. This is any area, and we have done survey. Now, I find two types of value, blue and red. These are the values only. So obviously they come from different processes and different way of that. So I get this data, I try to interpret, or maybe I ask one person to interpret it. And he says, sir, there is something passing like this, so that you're getting a value which is different than the surrounding, and there's something over here, that's a result, right? Just imagine that same data I give to a second person, he said, no, it is like that. You see, the data is same. You see, the points are exactly same, the location is same. And this person said, no, there looks to be something like that. And now anybody from you will say, yes, both are correct, in fact, but both cannot be correct. Only one will be correct. So how to decide that? There's no other way to decide that rather than go for more dense investigation. Like if you collect more data, then this is not possible in that if you have this much of data, this is not possible. Only this much is possible, so you can say. So here that's what I use the reliable and adequate data, take data. Right. So this is also an important thing, and that's why I'm now going to show that there are techniques now, because all those things about the subsurface, and you know that we'll have to get only through the geophysical survey, because geological investigation also are not enough to go very deep and find out very detailed subsurface information particularly. So we use geophysics. Geophysics, as you all know very well, there are many different methods of that depending on the physical property of the earth. And based on that, we again interfere, we inference. We don't directly get the value, we infer again. But then still based on certain experiments, certain parameter, we do that. So I have shown you earlier also that was a geophysical method, again, the resistivity method. This was called the ERT, electrical tomography, resistivity tomography. That was done on the ground itself. Now, another method is there which is called electromagnetic method, and it is very closer to that in the sense in a broader sense, that we here in this case we generate the electromagnetic waves, and that go inside there. They bring back the property of the earth, and we interpret and we find out again in the form of conductivity or resistivity only. So the advantage is that this electromagnetic method does not necessarily require the contact of the ground. So we can use in a helicopter or in a aircraft also, so that this ground connection is not required. It can move, it can do very fast and very much detail. So this I would like to discuss a little bit with one technical person here, that the method is the time domain electromagnetic method, in fact, and it is you see that helicopter, it is only hooked. This is the equipment. The equipment is a coil, and it is hooked in the helicopter to move and fly or something like that. But this coil generates electromagnetic wave, which is shown in white color, and it can penetrate easily the earth. And now it can penetrate up to a depth of 500 meters. That's very great. In fact, much more enough for the groundwater. In fact, and then they create the eddy current, and this eddy current, perhaps again, when of course this depends on the property, resistivity, this and ultimately that much the helicopter, the same thing, same equipment, the same loop, a receiver also, which can
Sir, you're muted. Professor Shakil, you're muted.
Just accidentally got muted. Start again here.
Yes, sir. Now I think it's okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. I will restart because my presentation also got lost. It's okay. I will select this and then share it. Right. It has come. Hopefully, I can start from the place I left. Oh, yes, that's right. So I was trying to explain, I hope you have listened that how this Haley-Bourne survey works, electromagnetic survey, and it brings back the information from almost 500 meters below the earth. And then we sit down, we see that what could be the material inside, yes, whether it will contain water, it doesn't contain water, if it contains water, how much water it contains, etc. So that one thing is very good because of the speed, we can cover very fast. Also, very close measurement can be taken because it is moving, and I mean, to be very specific, you can make the measurement about every 2.5 meter distance. So that way, which I have shown you the problem of interpretation, it is very well taken care. We have done that in a lot of places in India actually. So I am going to show the result perhaps. Yeah. This is a place near Jaipur in Dosa. Here you have two-tier system. This is actually sedimentary rocks rather than are underneath it is a quartzite basement. So earlier the people used to understand that the quartzite below the sedimentary rock is the bedrock. I mean, whatever you say in the I mean in hydrogeology, the bedrock means below that is no water. But now that has been dried up and all those things. So we carried out this survey, what we could penetrate much deeper than otherwise it was possible. So if you can see, you can see over here that you have different color difference are there and then white patches. This white line shows that up to this depth we could investigate, and then there is a resistivity contrast shows that there are some fractures within the quartzite. So now what we have done actually because of this survey, what we say that look, quartzite is not the basement inside. Quartzite also it could be aquifer because there are fractures in that where the water is possible. So we developed the new aquifer system we got actually, and that could be exploited. Right. Now another area which we have carried out, and this is very interesting in fact, because this is in desert in Jaisalmer. In desert you cannot do any other geophysical survey because move inside there, this place there. So sands are there, so you can't move over there, so you can go only along the road. But if you are using helicopter, you can fly anywhere you want, right? With this, we got the result which I am showing you. Only the result I am showing you, and particularly this box, if you see, we can make 3D picture of that. That's how we have done that. You see clearly here, these are the sand dunes, red one. Then you have some formation with water, and two types of water. Dark blue means it is a saline water because its resistivity is very, very low. In fact, so could be a saline water. But what I'm trying to emphasize over here that we find still less saline water below this saline patch. So the advantage of this survey is that if suppose this survey was not there and a person was drilling, he would have drilled here from the top, and the moment he got this saline water, I mean it is quite thick, maybe 20 meters or so. So he simply says, now let us stop because there's no good water, it is all saline. But if this information is there, then we can say, look, let us continue that, because after this saline water, there is a patch of less saline water. This can be used for various purposes in that area. Actually. So that is the advantage of detailed survey if you do that. I mean, I'm trying to make groundwater not invisible, visible, and in all the cases. So I'm justifying the title of this UN World Water Day. Now, coming back to this is a case of Deccan Trap, where you are sitting, of course, in Mumbai. And in Deccan Trap, the aquifer system is within the lava flows. And this detailed survey has shown very clearly what, in addition to this one, a different lava flows, which is not possible to capture by any other method. So one lava flow, the other lava flow, this lava flow, etc., etc., and then along the comparative resistivity values. So you can understand where are water available in which portion, which layer, and also that you have some. If you go much more detail, you have seen very much some fracture, something displacement. So that is the thing that you know that normally in basalt, you have the black soil and the normal rainfall recharge is very, very difficult. So you have to go down directly. So if you know by chance there is this, as I showed you that earlier also, if there is a fracture and there is a way that water can go inside and can be recharged, then you select those places only for artificial recharge. So that is the advantage in Deccan Triad here. Now I'm showing you this one is showing in the Ganga basin where you have the alluvial formation. And normally in alluvial formation or serpentine formation, we have in the back of our mind that everything is stratified and very nicely, very smoothly setting, so we don't have to do much. Everything is known, but it's not the case. As you can see that the result over here in 3D. You see the layers are not as smooth as we think. So particularly you see that the second layer which forms the first aquifer here, the red one. Here it is very, very thin. Here it is very thick. Here it is much more thick. And particularly when you come to the third layer, which is the clay layer, separating the first aquifer and the second aquifer, it is quite thick over here and continuing the thickness, same thing. But the moment it comes here, it does disappear. So the first aquifer and second aquifer got purged, which is possible only with this survey. Otherwise, it was not possible because it is continuously mapping. What is the advantage of that? You know, those who have heard about the problem of arsenic in Bihar, the first aquifer, the shallow aquifer, only contains the arsenic contamination. Luckily, the second aquifer, which is here, and very good aquifer actually, they don't contain. But so what do? People drill a borewell and aquifer and use only the second aquifer. Now, if you do that, what is going to happen over here? Because the two aquifer got merged. That's not possible. So anyways, we do something else. But I'm trying to say you that with this sort of special survey, you get such a detailed report that you are always able to take a good decision, in fact. Now coming back to this is something in the south in Padlur, in fact, near the sea coast, because you can see here sea coast. So we have mapped several layers, in fact, here. This is, you see that this side, if you vertical section is there, which is 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, 4 layer, 5, 6, 7, 8 layer, and all are dipping towards the coast, so that we know very well it is there, of course. But in addition to that, we found that when this coast is far away, within that we found some saline at the depth also, find some saline water. So of course this has to be checked, but we can conclude roughly at this moment that perhaps the river, which was the Palar, there were a river falling, I think, yeah, I'm not remembering the name, was now flowing like that, used to flow this way. That's why it has left the value channels of the river with the saline, which is there, maybe. Like that. So if this, of course, here you can see, you can separate all the aquifers properly, and then you can try to understand, because here some lignite mining also is there, so you can decide exactly where you have to do what. Now, this is very, very important, and I'm going to present you a little more detail. This is in the hard rock area. You know, in hard rock, you have a two-tier system aquifer, but then they are connected. There's no layer in between which makes it confine or separate them. So the upper one is called weathered layer. The below one is called the fracture one. Now, of course, the two are very different characteristics, because their hydrogeological characteristics are very different. Because you understand, the first one is weathered, and the fracture is with the massive also together in granite. But then you have to, nowadays over a patterns, all the water has been withdrawn from the upper layer, which is the weathered layer, and then you have to go down and find out the fracture only for locating the borewell or locating the water, whatever you say. Now, finding a fracture which is thin within centimeter and millimeters is highly difficult by the very geophysical survey again. But at the same time, even if we found the fracture, whether the fracture is enough connected very well or not, because otherwise you will not get water again over there. So that's how this detailed study, which I think in the next slide I'm going to show in 3D. Yes. Over you see that with this detailed study, which is called Heliborn TEM survey, you get so much detail that you can cut in any direction, any thickness you want. Now here you see that we are not able to see this. See again, I'm going to justify the title of the World Water Day. So it is now the groundwater invisible. So now with this survey, if I go down, I'm going down. You see that the elevation was, of course, is not written here. The 770 now. Next, it is 750. So 20 meter down, I have gone. And within 20 meter, you see the difference. You can see very well. So many massives are seen here. This all high resistivity, but then below that, this massive has gone away. So low resistivity, of course, is there. Much more low resistivity. Now again, another 25 meter down you've gone. You've seen the complete scenario got changed, and then down and down, and I think down is that. So with this survey, you can really make the groundwater visible, because you are going down up to almost 125 meter, 100 or 150 meter down, and it is such a detailed information that you see that this side there is a very compact rock over here, maybe a very big boulder over here, but in between there are some channels. There is a low resistivity, so there will be some channels here and there, and in between some patches. So all these details are possible with this survey. So that then you can sit down and take a very nice decision, of course, which you can come to. So I mean, up to here, I am just showing you that, justifying the theme of the water day, that with this geophysical and geological method nowadays we are doing, we can really make, because you cannot see with the naked eye, but you can infer, and you can infer in much more detail, not simply thinking yes there is a water and there are pores like that. Here it is, all the variability is shown over here like that. So I think this I have shown, but I would like to go back to the first message here. I have written some 5 points, but I'll discuss one by one. So number one is the conserve rain, and there is a slogan of the Jal Shakti Ministry also, that catch the rain where it falls and when it falls. Okay, this is very clear now. Nobody can deny that. Now it is very visible, very much clearly known that we have to do that. That means we have to conserve the water which falls by the rain into our maybe inside your house, inside your almirah, I don't know. And but you have to conserve that, because very simple thing is that even earlier also, because the rainfall comes from using the monsoon system, which rainfall was there for, let's say, 4 months. Within that also rainy days, if you see, it was used to be 60 or 62 days. But very sure, if you check the data, nowadays it cannot be more than 25 or 30 days. So you see that earlier itself there was a problem that rain was coming 60 days and we had to manage with that water for 365 days. Now it is coming even less than that, 25 or 30 days. Then our problem has become much more. So we have to conserve, we have to preserve that. And the best thing is to preserve is the subsurface. And I will justify that also. Why? Because we are in a country which is called either semi-arid or arid. Where the temperature is high, rainfall is less, in fact. So if you conserve that in open space, let's say ponds or lakes, or even, of course, the river, it will go anyway. But if you want to prepare a pond or talab or whatever, you say different places, different names are there, of course. So this you can easily conserve, because you know very well it is coming from runoff and you can stop somewhere and you can even use that. But then the thing is that because of the arid or semi-arid country, the evaporation is very high. So if you conserve on the top of the surface, you will lose a lot, more than 50% you lose that. So why not we conserve into the subsurface? It's the best place, because evaporation loss will be very, very less, or will not be there in fact. But then for that you need the knowledge of the subsurface. But this is now possible. I have shown you a lot of things. So it is quite possible that you know the knowledge of subsurface, then decide that which is the best place to recharge artificially and conserve the water as a groundwater for your future use or further use. Right. Now the thing is that explain the technology and finding it. Yeah, this is another point which is really odd point here, but then I would like to discuss this. Okay, why things have not been successful? Because we have very good scientists, very good hydrogeologists. We do a lot of research. We develop technologies. I have shown you also some examples. But then we publish paper which goes beyond our country also. Some people read, of course, but then the user really, let's say, for example, farmers, they don't read our publication. So that increases the gap, because then they are the user. You have we have done a lot of work, published in a journal, which farmers could not read that. So obviously this stayed over there and the farmer had to do something, so he's doing something. So this gap is a bigger gap. Unless we close that gap, so what do you have to do that? You publish in the journal, that is fine, there's no problem, I don't want to stop it. But at the same time, you write the same thing or something, maybe conclusion, in a language which a farmers can understand, in a very simple language and a very detailed to make him understood. Because farmers or user will not be understand very easily. Of course, because of the crisis now, they are ready to understand, they are ready to listen to you, but it's our duty to translate that into language which they can understand. Right, so that is that point actually I wanted to put it here. But my final one is this, that make groundwater visible. How? By technology that we have shown you like that, but that's not enough. Unless you do the second point, which I have written, that by putting water into the mind of the people, unless it goes inside the mind, that clarity is there, known to them in by his mind, still then only the whole action or all the implementation will be possible. So that's what is my final message based on the discussion, the presentation I made. And so I thank you all for that. I'm ready to answer your question.
Thank you, sir. Very, very lovely, very explained. We could see that water. And yes, it will go to the minds of the people. Surely. Any participant wish to ask a question? Yeah, there is one question from Mr. P.R. Vaidya. Professor Ahmed, connection between water and resistivity is understandable. How does magnetism link with water presence? The eddy current method indicates that soil could be magnetic to produce eddy current. Sir.
Okay. Well, I think this is a very well-established method. I don't think I can explain to you much in much detail. And only thing say that this has been a old technique. In fact, we have done in the ground also, and then because of this, the contact is not needed, we could do that in the aircraft. So it's a method. What question you say that I can supply you a lot of publication which, from several years it is coming up. So the technique is not old, not new. It is very old. And the only thing is that now we are using in the helicopter, so that the advantage is there to cover a larger area and very fast. Right.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please, sir, this picture is so clear that no one has any questions. All doubts clear.
Right. So I stop sharing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so we move on to
the nice.
Now, Tushar, let's have some discussion. What can be the action plan to put into minds of people, the groundwater? where to take people? What mission you suggest? What action plan you suggest? All that you have given us such an excellent talk with the technology base, and very clear that how the groundwater is hidden mysteriously. Your technology and science has really thrown light on that, how you can see the water to the depths to so many meters, hundreds of meters down. Now, well, this is one aspect, but then minds of people, that is an awareness. But is it for the government to be insisted upon to explore this water and prevent people from the sufferings of the scarcity of water? What should be the action centric, that is government centric or public centric?
Yes, I think you put both the things. That's what I also want, government centric and public centric. And public centric, of course, awareness is much more important. And let me tell you, sir, I have my practical experience. Now the people are ready to listen to us because they have a crisis. It's very much natural. If the crisis is there, then you'll be ready, just tell, bataiye humko kya karna hai. So, but then what is our duty? We have to be very clear in our duty. That's what I also mentioned, that now what we should do, of course, we should try to publish our paper in journals throughout in that, but at the same time, a parallel writing should be there, either in different language or at least in a different way. That the way, because I tell you the example, when we working together, we wanted to tell the farmer, look, the groundwater level is going down. One person says, well, I don't see anything going down. Now I had a big problem. I want to tell how to show him the groundwater is going down. So what we did, we taken a lot of wells and we knew the depth of the well. It is very well clear. And we knew the water level. So that you subtract the water level from the depth of the well, you'll find that that well will go dry. So what we said, okay, don't think of where the water levels are going down, but I will put in a certain parameter that so many wells are getting dry. You say, yes, yes, I understand because my well got dry. That person says, yes, yes, my well got dry. So this is an example that our work also. First we start from ourselves. We can't blame somebody else unless we are correct, right? So we have to try to our finding. I think this is very simple because water is such a field. It is not that complicated at the space science or something like that. So we have to, it is our duty to whatever we find, our findings are there, we translate into simpler language which farmer or any user can understand. That's not, even though, and you then you say government centric also. Let me tell you, I don't remember the event, but there was some minister in an inauguration. He told very simple, very clearly, sir, if I want to read your publication also, you have such a complicated equation with integral, 3-degree integral, all those things. How can we understand? We can't understand those things. So when we cannot understand those things, then why? How can we use those in our policy? So in the both way, of course, they have to come. It's not only enough. They say something, but then they do something else. Right? This is the fact. If they come forward, that means whenever you make a policy, we should definitely send our recommendations. Whenever you make a policy, involve the scientists, relevant scientists, and hold a discussion because neither you expect that you should read our published paper and understand that. Not we also say that you read. I will give you. I'll publish my paper. I'll give you a copy. So this is not a solution. The solution is that whenever you make a policy, involve the scientific community and a relevant one, of course, and make a discussion. And also a policy should be made not overnight. It should take time because with time many things can be sorted out. So first is our duty that we have to come forward also a little bit more. They are writing many big complicated equations per journal, but then translate them in a very simple language and make another document ready for the users and for the policy maker. And only thing is that we should write recommendation that the policy maker should respect that scientific work is going on. A lot of scientific going on in our country. This should be useful and should be invited. So that's what I did, and then things will be possible.
A lot of linkages are required to be established between expertise and the users of the water. I know, say, our government, state of Maharashtra, sometime now, I think it is in operation. Even for a borewell, you have to seek a permission in your own land. It was not so case earlier. So I don't know whether it is for a prevention of extraction of a water from groundwater, or it is the government wants to guide and say, why are making your efforts, whether to strike the groundwater or not, you need to go to the experts or the government machinery to know exactly whether you are going to strike water or not. I don't know what sense it is implementation policy comes to it.
No, I can just put one word. Agree here. This that we have to rethink very seriously that really the groundwater is a private property or not. I don't think it is correct because of this only a lot of problems are there.
Yes.
The moment it declares the groundwater, see, if you go to the central government, they say, well, water or groundwater is the state subject, number one, which cannot be. So it's so simple. And when you come to the state, say groundwater is a personal property or private property, you do whatever you like. Then how do you manage? So the solution is that the groundwater should not be declared as a private property, rather it should be managed by the community. I mean, a locality, and if the mapping is done, then you can divide it based on the aquifer. One single aquifer system is there, a single community can be there on that. Or start with the area, with the water state, like hydrological unit is there. So a community should be there combined for a hydrological unit and then managed by the, not by the one person.
Okay.
Right.
Anybody would like to put on more any question like last discussion? Hello.
Yes, Tushar, we I think no
Yes,
question. We thank the speaker.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed, all the way getting out of his busy schedule from the Hyderabad. So
Yes,
we'd
sir.
like to get in touch with
Wonderful
you.
lecture. Wonderful lecture.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I wish, sir, so you be there on the, we have a question answer. at
Sure,
the
sure.
end.
I'll stay here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we move on to the next, and that will be the last. And normally they say we keep the best for the last. So this subject will be the groundwater and sustainability special reference to India. And we have a speaker, Dr. A.K. Sinha from CSM University. I request Dr. Sonal Friday to introduce Mr. Sinha, please. Over to Sonal.
Yes, a very good evening to one and all. Am I audible?
Yeah, very good.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay,
yes.
thank you. Thank you so much. Very good evening, Dr. Professor A.D. Sawant sir, Dr. Rakesh Kumar sir, all the dignitaries present in this forum and all participants. It's my privilege and honor today to introduce Professor Dr. A.K. Sinha. Today we have with us a very dynamic personality having academic and industrial experience where he holds many portfolios of repute in varied environmental related fields. Professor A.K. Sinha ji is currently the Vice Chancellor, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj University, Panvel, Navi Mumbai. Formerly, he was the Director for School of Basic Sciences at Manipal University, Jaipur. He has also been the Dean, Research and Director at Center for Climate Change and Water, Suresh Gyan Bihar University, Jaipur. He has also been the President for ESS at Indian Science Congress Association from 2013 to 2014. He's been the founder director for Center for Water Management and Research. Also a professor and head Department of Geology, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. He has also been the chief coordinator for Groundwater Community India. He is a member of Governing Council for Inter-University Accelerator Center, Government of India, New Delhi. He is also the advisor for Institute for Community Development, Jaipur. Also a president at Indian National Chapter for International Association of Hydrogeologists and a member expert for Indian National Chapter and a member expert for UGC Special Assistance Program at the advisory committees. We have a dynamic personality amongst us participants, and the topic which he'll be speaking on is groundwater and its sustainability with special reference to India. Welcome, Professor A.K. Sinha.
Am I audible to audience? Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So very good afternoon to you all. I'm very thankful to my mentor, Professor Sawant sir, under whom I had opportunity and fortune to work. I worked under him and learned many things. He was our Vice Chancellor at the University of Rajasthan, and whatever he did in 10 months, hardly anybody can do in 10 years. So I'm really very happy to be again associated with him in this webinar. And I should say like this, but his order I have to obey, and I'm here with you to share some of my feeling, my thinking regarding the sustainability of the groundwater. I know I'm speaking at the very fag end, and I had been unfortunate to miss all the preceding lectures, so I'm not aware what had been spoken. So I apologize if there is some repetition, or I may not be up to your expectation, but this is an opportunity to be with you, which I enjoy, and thank you very much. So, well, I am going to speak on enhancing the sustainability of the groundwater, enhancing the visibility. We know we are meeting on the eve of the World Water Day, and this is, to my understanding, the 30th World Water Day, with focus on groundwater. Earlier also, during the 1998, the groundwater was the theme, but then it was only an invisible resource, and today it is an invisible to visible resource. During these years, much changes had taken place, much advancement has taken place in the thinking and the practicing process pertaining to groundwater. Of course, groundwater is most valuable resource for the survival and sustenance of the people and the planet, and it is the most extractable resource among all resources. But unfortunately, its availability is very less. It is hidden, it is invisible, and 99, and so that is a concern to know about it and concern to manage about it, so that it is available for a long time. It is become a sustainable resource. We have been concerned about it because the services which the groundwater provide is tremendous. Even it is invisible, but its impacts are highly visible. We know that the 70% of the agriculture is supported by all over the world by groundwater. More than half of the drinking water resources are made by the groundwater. Even it provides climate resilience in the days of the climate change, so help to the adverse consequences of climate change, particularly in a dry region. So this resource is highly visible, its impacts are highly visible. Our dependency on the groundwater has increased manifold. We have now practically switched over from surface water to groundwater. Earlier, the many cities used to be established along the river, but the recent cities, they are being established away from the river to accommodate the growing population only on the basis of the availability of the groundwater. So how can you upload it? Just now. ठीक है, चेंज करना। I'm sorry, there's some. Yes, यहाँ से हो जाएगा। So, sustaining groundwater visibility is very important challenge before us. Despite I don't want to go in detail how impactful and how useful this resource is for us. We are all aware. We all belong. We are concerned with it for quite long time, and so we are aware about it. And how the water, when we say the water today, it means the groundwater, because the 99% of the fresh water is the groundwater. So whenever we say water, it obviously directly or indirectly pertains to the availability of the groundwater. And our ancient wisdom, this is a stanza from the third Ved. It shows that ability to see, hear, and speak are useless in the absence of adequate water. Water is the basis of life. Most life forms are born in water and live in it. Oh, water stream, come near me. You are the elixir of immortality. So this speaks very high about the importance of water, and then our ancestors, their wisdom, you can see it is getting reflected here. Because water is not only important for the drinking or other uses, but also important for the life system, for the biodiversity, for maintaining the flow, environmental flow in the river, for sustaining the lakes and the ponds. So that's why. But the challenges are tremendous. Challenges are, I will be skipping few slides. I mean, so why we use the groundwater? Why I said that, as I said, the dependence on groundwater by both the served and unserved. I mean, it is universally, people are depending more and more on the groundwater. Those who are served with the pipeline or canal or surface region, they're also getting dependent on the groundwater to enjoy more and more through agriculture and irrigation. The people who are used to get 2 crop in a year from the surface water now getting 3 or more crop by using the groundwater. And unserved people are that naturally it is a backbone, or it is a basis of survival for the poor people. Relative safety and security of groundwater, especially in rural area, is very well known. I mean, they are dependent on it. Many areas where you don't have the surface water, don't have the canal system, they are totally dependent on this groundwater, which used to be obstructed initially by the dug well, but with the deepening of the level, the dug well is being replaced by the dug cum board well, and now the board well. So this way, but now it is becoming a costly affair as the board well getting deeper and deeper. The marginal people, poor people, it is becoming out of reach for them. So the question of inclusive growth is also associated with it, how to make available the water to all, so that inclusive growth take place. Undoubtedly, this groundwater, wherever the industries are using, lot of groundwater in a industrialized country, if you see, their use of groundwater is much more than the developing country. So groundwater is one of the major, supporting material for industrialization in the industrialized and the developed country. In the developing country also, the groundwater is being used. But these are the various services which groundwater provide. Provision of the food, fuel wood, and water. As you know, water is for the drinking purposes, food because of the groundwater used for the crop production, fuel wood wherever there is no energy, electricity, people use to take the wood, and that is grown on the basis of their food, and forests are supported by the groundwater. So they become the source. So all these aspects are known in the cultural services. When you might be knowing that the origin of Narmada and Son is from a pond which is contributed by the groundwater. Amarkantak area. So the religious and spiritual experience, many, you can say the spring in Arabian countries, they have become the site of religious activities, chashma, which you call in Arabian countries. So the chashma, they support many religious establishment and activities. And so in India, so this water is, also a matter of great cultural services. I mean, because the water bodies are supported by the groundwater. And this is vital not only for the rural area, urban areas also, because I told you many other urbanization is developing because of the availability of the groundwater, but still 2.2 billion people, they are not having the safe access to, this is old now 2.2 billion people still production, and therefore, if you look into the total holistic picture, we find that the many countries are highly benefited because of the groundwater, and the aquifer systems are being well developed, well protected, but in many countries the aquifers are not very well managed, not very well understood. So wherever they are not well understood, there is a more critical problem pertaining to use of groundwater. So when we are thinking of increasing the visibility or sustaining the visibility of the groundwater, there are three aspects of it. So that is meeting human requirement today and in the future. Then water security and the conflict resolution. Because here, if you talk about the conflict resolution, I mean the transboundary aquifer. There are more than 350 transboundary aquifer all over the world, and there are very few agreement and understanding pertaining to the transboundary aquifer. India has also transboundary aquifer which is shared with the neighboring countries. But there is always off and on we think about, pardon, conflicting opinion about it. And then very important is satisfying ecosystem requirement. The best flow on the rivers, as I said, the lake system, pond, they are supported by the groundwater. And nowadays, recent study by said that Indo-Gangetic plain is derived of, there the water level is getting deeper and deeper, and the river flow in the Ganges and other have reduced because the upstream sides and in the country in the catchment areas and the basin areas, the groundwater is being exploited and there is no contribution to the river system, and that's why the environmental flow in the river, the volume of the environmental flow is decreasing. That is a matter of a great concern. So many people are thinking that very soon, if this is the state of affair, then the river like Ganga, Yamuna has become ephemeral. Ganga also, Ganga and Brahmaputra, ephemeral in nature very soon, if such overexploitation of groundwater continues. Then beside that, so what are the challenges we need to address if you want to sustain the groundwater use and maintain its visibility, enhance its visibility, the challenges are pertaining to overexploitation of groundwater. All over the world, the groundwater is being overexploited, being overused, and that not only it is depriving the access of safe water, but it is also causing the land subsidence in the different areas, particularly in a karstic region, such region where the limestones are in dominance. Subsurface is constituted of the limestone, and in a coastal region, the saline water intrusion is taking place and contaminating the groundwater aquifer, particularly it is also for India also, because India has a 7,000 long, coastal region, and many regions, this intrusion, saline water intrusion has taken place, not only contaminated the groundwater, but also the soil stand contaminated. If you go to, Khambat region, you will find that large agriculture area have been left unused because the soil has become saline, groundwater has become saline, and so these are the challenges which people are facing all over the world, including India, because of the contaminations. Agriculture, use of chemicals and fertilizers, organic fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides. They are, groundwater is getting contaminated through various point and non-point sources, including industries also contributing to the contaminations. So all these are matter of concern to human health as well as the biodiversity. Many species of birds and the plants have become extinct over the years. And then the climate change is also supplementing the pressure, adding an extra pressure on the groundwater, because wherever there is warming, the more and more groundwater use. This is to the people in a drought-prone area, in a dry regions, and also in such regions where the surface water bodies have vanished due to changing climate. So all these are happening, and if groundwater depletion is a major cause, and if groundwater keeps on depleting, then your dynamic source of groundwater get overused, then you start mining the static water, and then the quality of the water becomes deteriorated. If you keep on mining the groundwater, you start with fresh water composition, then end with a saline water composition. So this is where because of, and then it's supplemented by the various geogenic contamination and anthropogenic contamination as mentioned. So these are other challenges to sustainability of groundwater. So we need to address these challenges, and there are many, approaches cited by many users, practitioners, scientists, professionals, NGOs who are working towards this. But the work is being in a very piecemeal manner. Data which are being generated, they are not in an integrated manner. We have almost 8 hydrogeological provinces with a different geological formation, geological characteristic, with an aquifer characteristic. They are not properly understood. We had a national plan also, national aquifer mapping plan, to map the aquifer, but I'm not sure how much mapping precisely has been done and what is the geometrical the aquifer which have been mapped. So we need to have very precise geometry of our aquifer if we want to understand the water resources. We need to have a very sufficient data to have a model for future use. We are preparing the model on the basis of many assumptions, and our assumption-based models are, I think, not going to help much in the future, or is sustainable management. So what we need to, we need to look for the additional evaluation of the resources. There are good number of paleo channels in dry region, even the coastal regions, even Kerala, which gets approximately 3,000 very quite good rainfall, but still they are running shortage of water. So, and they have the paleo channels. They need to use and evaluate the potentiality of the paleo channels. Fracture, shear zones, and hard rock. All these areas could be a potential site for developing groundwater. Micro watershed based approach towards groundwater resource management is again have been advocated, but what is the how much it is in practice? That is a big question. We are using various modern tools for rainfall runoff evaluation. Then many agencies are engaged in citing various rainfall runoff harvesting structures and groundwater recharge structures. But work is going on, progress is going on, but probably the information, the scientific information, the data which are required to be shared very freely are not probably being shared informally, equally. So that is a matter of concern and to the needy. So such concerns are there. So the emerging response are managed aquifer recharge, artificially recharging the groundwater, because the quantum of natural recharge is supposed to have decreased with the urbanization, with the losing out of open area, and so the natural recharge zone have been because the change in the land use pattern also. So natural recharge have decreased significantly. So people are advocating for artificial recharge. Artificial recharge, of course, so globally this is being accepted as one of the approach, suitable approach, good approach to recharge the supplement, replenish the groundwater. But there is also a challenge. You need to understand the subsurface. You have very clear subsurface scenario, and you should know, you should have the source water, to put in. And normally rain is the ultimate source, but you need to harvest, collect the rainwater. You need to have recycled water up to desired quality, to put it inside the surface to recharge the groundwater. Then there are many areas still they are unexplored, where prospecting and exploration, particularly in hard rock area and paleo channels area, should be taken very convincingly on in a very systematic manner. Still there is a scope because we have a large number of dams. Our quota of dam is almost over, and in the changing climate, the dam and reservoir are not a preferred mode of storage for the water. We need to develop subsurface storage, and for that again a very comprehensive subsurface information through the earth science should be generated, and subsurface storage, particularly depleted aquifers, can be used for storing the water subsurface, which can be used during the drought, during the dry period. during warm period, and in particularly in some area where the saline aquifer are there. For example, in Rajasthan, the 90% aquifer are saline. And these aquifers are all can also be used for storage of rainwater because of the density difference. Saline water has a higher density in comparison to the the totally fresh water. So the fresh water can be made to float, can be made to store on the saline water in a saline aquifer. So saline aquifer provide opportunity for storing the rainwater in those areas which can be harnessed or harvested during a time of need by the farmers and other users. And most important is creating awareness, create education is very important. You need to, because the well may be of dug well or bore-come well or whatever it may be, whatever the structure you are using for drafting groundwater may be a private property, but the groundwater is not a private property, it is a common pool. So how to use this pool collectively by the community, that need to be thought of. The community is the owner of the resources, and the community need to be empowered in this through knowledge and skill, so that they are able to manage their resources effectively and sustainably. They should know how much water is required, because that is also, their lack of awareness. For example, in Ganganagar, when the canal was constructed, so, and it was prior to pre-canal area, it was very dry area. When the canal came and people started agriculture over there, they used number of irrigations. One where the 1 or 2 irrigations were required, they used 3 or 4 irrigations. Ultimately, what happened? The whole area became waterlogged, and the quality of the water got deteriorated. So, it is because of the lack of awareness. So such awareness need to be a very important aspect, is to bring in attitudinal change through awareness and education. If the attitude is made, change, and they understand the importance of the water, the groundwater, probably not much if need to be done. These are the various structures which are developed in a different part of the country for recharging the groundwater. When on the farm land, the structures are created to recharge the groundwater. Another important aspect that many farmers ask, if they recharge, then what is the surety that the recharge water will be available to them? That is because of the understanding, the flow, because of the flow, groundwater may move from one place to other places, and the person who undertakes recharge at the farm may not be able to take that much benefit. So such so some strategy, this very old concept, but still very valid: reuse, reduce, recycle, and recharge. So this concept need to be practiced. And this can be practiced very sincerely and honestly only when there is a attitudinal orientation for that. And then, large volume of rainwater goes to the sea. As per one of the estimation, past estimation, I am not aware about the very current estimation, around 1,100 cubic kilometer of water goes to the sea. It is estimated that even, few percentage of this water which goes to the sea is tapped on the land probably our groundwater will get recharged and our water resource availability will be sustained and maintained. So this is what I wanted to share with you. And thank you very much once again to you all for giving me an opportunity to share my thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Very excellent.
Anybody wish to have the questions? Any participants?
You had questions. There are some in chat box, I believe.
No, there are no questions in the chat box. Anybody wish to interact with Professor Singh? Now,
Professor, are these there are a lot of salt areas in Rajasthan. Some of them we could visit, but what is the proportion? That are they only the desert sites or all over the Rajasthan?
Pardon, sir?
The salt
Pardon?
pockets, yeah.
What saying?
The salt
pockets, sir.
The salt pockets in Rajasthan.
Salt.
They are all over, or they are on the desert sites, or on a fertile land site also.
No, of course, on the western side, the TDS in the groundwater is very high. I mean, sometimes reaching more than 20,000 ppm.
Oh, yeah.
In the western side is very high.
Okay.
Because you see, the eastern side, I mean, you know, rainfall is more, around 600 millimeter. But the western side, if you go to Jaisalmer side, the annual rainfall is 100 millimeter. Okay. And evaporation is very high. So naturally, the salt content has gone up. TDS is very high on those, and that's why I don't remember exactly the figure, but you know, the low mineralized zone, medium mineralized zone, the area has been divided in 3 mineralized zones. On the basis of the occurrences of the salt in the groundwater. But you know, the other problems are also there in the Rajasthan, like the geogenic contamination, fluoride, and because of the desiccation, there is enrichment in the fluoride content in the groundwater.
Yeah, is that the fluoride concentration too large that side? And we had one short meeting in Maharani College where many cases were brought forth of fluoride fluorosis, you know. So any relationship of that exclusive fluoride
the Nagaur area,
everywhere there is salt regions,
area particularly,
everywhere this fluoride problem is there, or only localized? You got my question?
Pardon? Hello? Hello?
Yes. Some cross connection is there.
Yes. Yes, sir. Please. Hello.
No, I said I was just.
Are you getting me, sir?
Yeah. I was just inquiring about. We had a short meeting in a Maharani College where a lot of the meeting cases were brought and presented of fluorosis, fluoride contamination. So, any relationship with this salt pockets and fluoride concentration, or the fluoride is only localized in some pockets singularly as a fluoride?
Fluoride is there. Fluoride is there in the groundwater, you know, even the Jaipur. I mean,
all over.
More than permissible limit. I mean, even the Jaipur area, the groundwater has fluoride up to 6 ppm, where the permissible limit is 1 to 1.5 ppm.
So it is throughout the Rajasthan?
It is through but in the western side it is more, the eastern side it is patches, particularly in the Chaksu area. Again, the ground, I mean, you just in the Jaipur district itself, if you go towards the Chaksu, then fluoride content is very high. Even up to 70 Bandi Basin, which is crosses the Chaksu area, the water sample have been found containing 17 ppm fluoride.
Okay, okay.
So fluoride is there, and might have heard about the Nagaur area, Bakapatti.
Nagaur, yeah.
Yeah, where
So
even the child, born deformed. I mean, so they are socially cut off.
Yeah,
because
that I see,
90% of the populations they are deformed, because of the fluorosis.
It means even if you water scarcity area, Rajasthan, it's like almost half of it desert. If you make a groundwater available, I mean, rather make it visible, but to decontaminate that from the fluoride is also the next task, So we have two problems: to get a groundwater visible and also make it free from the fluorides,
Somehow, because of some reason, I don't know, I am not getting your question very properly, but what I understand, the mechanism of, how the defluoridation can be can take place. But, there are many techniques, even the Nalgonda techniques, other techniques, they were applied in those areas of the high fluoride groundwater area. But again, I mean, it comes, the people become dependent on the government. So, and then if they become dependent on the government, the system fails. The government, if the government and the people who manages this, if they make the local people understand the modality of running this, applying the techniques for defluoridation, that would have been useful. But one technique which we applied locally in a small catchment, around a hand pump in the Chaksu area, that was quite successful. We took sample of the water which was showing the high ground fluoride in the pre-monsoon area, and we then we just covered that. We created a small catchment and blockade at the end of the catchment, and created a small catchment so that the water can go down and percolate down, and then we collected the sample during the post-monsoon. And we found that the fluoride dilution has taken place.
Okay, great.
So, any other questions? Hello?
Yeah, not yet, sir. There are no questions. Anybody wish to ask? Dr. Shashideka?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there is no question, I should be permitted to leave, sir.
Okay, sir. We are about to close.
We have a great thanks to you and receive our thanks, and then you can leave. Yeah. So thank you very much for finding time in your busy schedule. You had a very little slot for us, and again, you are praised hard because it's university examination time, and to get a vice chancellor on a World Water Day in the morning, you had many programs. That was a great. And we put you to the hardship. You just responded to our call, and you obliged us and found some time for us. That's we are really privileged for that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me opportunity.
Sir, you can go ahead.
Of course, I feel that I could not do much justice, but it was a great pleasure for me to be with you and share whatever I knew.
You wanted to reorganize your lectures, but I said, don't worry, just speak little, but your availability is more important, and we could get a lot of ideas from this talk, and ultimately it has served the purpose of the groundwater management. Thank you. Integrated.
Thank you, Dr. Sinha. Thank you. Thank you. We enjoyed the talk.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Doctor, just last 3 minutes, we are about to close. And we have our Friends of Trees President Emeritus, Dr. Sivaja Godre. Ma'am, you would like to say some concluding lines about the whole event?
I won't take up much time except to congratulate everyone who participated and congratulate Professor A.D. Sawant for having taken the initiative and organizing the lecture with SOCLEEN and our other colleagues. and to the entire team who's been with us, all the people who did all the executive committee work, introducing all our esteemed speakers. Greatly appreciated everybody's efforts in this wonderful, wonderful seminar. Thank you very much. I have no more to say. It's been a long, long day for all of you and for everyone, but I really, really appreciate this initiative. And I think we should continue with such collaborative efforts. Thank you. God bless.
Sure, sure. Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot for this. So I'll just do the rituals, the vote of thanks. It was a very lovely day. It was completely watery day. We thank our speakers, Dr. T.N. Mahadevan, then Dr. S.N. Rai, all the way from USA, then Mahendra Mehta. He was in Goa, and Dr. Rakesh Kumar, our own man. Dr. Shakir Ahmed from Ahmedabad and Dr. A.K. Sinha from Panve. So we thank all the speakers. Special thanks to all the office bearers of SOCLEEN, CSIR, IH, and FOT. So for making this event quite long. And next event, we think we can go for the offline. Now the COVID is no more. We can meet quite oftenly. I thank Dr. Firoza Godrej for being there for the majority of the time. Sakina, she was there off the screen, but she managed the whole screen. It was our streamline, live, and everything presentation. So thank you, Sakina, and thank you, my co-host Deepa, Sonali ma'am, Shashi, Rekha, and all these doctors, except me, I'm the engineer. Okay, and thank you, man. Special thanks to Dr. A.D. Sawant. Sir, thank you for this opportunity. It was my pleasure to present this lovely event. And really, exploring water, you have explored all the speakers from all across the globe. I can see that.
Yes.
Really wonderful. What a great network you have. And all were experts. So salute to you. Keep having such kind of collaborative program. It's so clean and all this CSIR. So thank you very much. And किसी का नाम नहीं लिया हो तो उनको भी thank you. So all the keep saving water. Keep आज का takeaway for this whole water day till the next year, because the water is going to be scarcity. Okay, we said the water, third world war will be played for water. Already war is on, but I don't know, but we'll save our water. So thank you for all the participants for being with us for the whole day. It's lovely. I can see 25 numbers still there. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night.
Sakina, you can close the event and we can share the recording.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. So now I am ending the meeting. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Sakina, for all the technical help. Thank you very much, dear. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Leaving now.